I began franchising at the age of 66 with the same company I sold for $2 million. Yesterday, it was sold for $240 million, but I didn't receive any of that.
Harlan Sanders, later known as Colonel Sanders, was born on a farm in Indiana on September 9, 1890. Coming from humble beginnings, he faced a tough life from a young age. His father passed away when he was only 5 years old, and to support the family, his mother had to take on various jobs such as sewing and working at a canning factory. As a result, Sanders was responsible for looking after his two younger siblings, which led him to start cooking at just 7 years old. He would often stay up late honing his skills, eventually becoming a skilled cook. At 10 years old, Sanders worked on a farm, but was fired because he spent more time with the animals than doing the tasks he was assigned. His mother, furious about the loss of the job, told him she could no longer rely on him. This shamed Sanders and motivated him to succeed in life. However, things worsened when his mother remarried a violent man who mistreated his stepchildren. At the age of 12, Sanders left home and set out to make his own way. He found work on another farm, waking up before dawn to feed the animals, attending school during the day, and taking on extra work in the evenings. But the workload was too much for him, and after struggling with school, particularly algebra, he dropped out at just 13 years old, only a few weeks into the 7th grade. In his early years, Sanders tried a wide variety of jobs, including working as a streetcar conductor, insurance salesman, tire salesman, steamboat operator, midwife, secretary, and carriage painter. He even briefly served in the U.S. Army at the age of 15, stationed in Cuba, though his time in the military was short, only about 6 months, likely because his underage status was discovered. By the time he turned 18, Sanders got married and had 3 children. Needing to support his family, he pursued a professional career in law by taking a correspondence law course. However, his legal career ended after a courtroom argument with one of his clients tarnished his reputation. Sanders then worked for the railroad but was fired again, and his wife Josephine left him, taking their children with her and leaving behind all their furniture and belongings. Devastated by both his job loss and the breakdown of his family, Sanders went to his in-laws' house and contemplated kidnapping his children when they played outside. Fortunately, at the last moment, his father-in-law convinced him to think clearly, leading Sanders to reconcile with his wife. However, tragedy struck again in 1947 when Sanders divorced his wife after the death of their 20-year-old son. The grief caused their marriage to fall apart. Despite facing multiple failures and hardships, Sanders' life was about to take a dramatic turn. At 40, Colonel Sanders worked at a Kentucky gas station, where he began cooking meals, including fried chicken. Using a pressure cooker, he perfected cooking chicken in just 8 to 9 minutes, along with a secret blend of 11 herbs and spices. His food became popular, and to promote it, he painted ads on barn doors, which led to a rivalry and a violent shootout with a competitor. Sanders' chicken gained more fame after his competitor was jailed. In 1935, Sanders was awarded the honorary title of colonel and expanded to a 142-seat restaurant. However, in 1939, the restaurant burned down, and post-World War II, a lack of tourists hurt his business. In the 1950s, a new highway bypassed his location, forcing him to sell the restaurant at a loss. At 65, Sanders had minimal income but remained determined, seeing this as an opportunity to find a new path, leading to his breakthrough. Instead of running a restaurant himself, Colonel Sanders decided to franchise his chicken recipe, allowing other restaurants to sell it while charging a fee of 4 cents per chicken sold. He packed pressure cookers and his signature seasoning into his 1946 Ford and set off across the U.S., living out of his car. It was a grueling, non-stop journey, but Sanders visited potential franchisees, cooking for restaurant staff first, then for customers, hoping they'd love his chicken enough to join his franchise. Despite facing 1,009 rejections, he never gave up. In 1952, he succeeded when Pete Harmon in South Salt Lake, Utah, agreed to sell his chicken. Harmon's sales tripled in the first year, and he coined the phrase, finger-lickin' good, which became the KFC slogan. Word about Sanders' chicken spread, and within a few years, he no longer needed to travel to find new franchisees. They came to him. Sanders sent the spice blend pre-made to franchises, keeping the recipe secret to avoid competitors copying it. By 1963, he had over 600 outlets in the US and Canada, and within a few years, the number grew to 900 worldwide, including locations in the UK and Japan. His chicken became a sensation, and the franchise model proved to be a massive success, securing Sanders financial stability. However, this was just the beginning of his journey. KFC was thriving, but one day, a group of investors led by a 29-year-old named John Brown approached Sanders with an offer to buy his business. John was surprised to discover that KFC had no sales team and relied entirely on word of mouth for new franchise owners. He saw potential for rapid expansion if they adopted a more aggressive sales strategy. So, he made Sanders an offer. Initially, Sanders declined, as his business was like a child to him, and he feared the new owners might ruin it. However, John persisted, raising his offer to $2 million and promising never to alter the Colonel's recipe or compromise on quality control. He also assured Sanders that he would remain as an advisor and ambassador, believing his presence was a significant marketing asset. In 1964, at the age of 73, Sanders agreed to sell KFC, hoping to enjoy his remaining years. After the sale, Sanders became a millionaire, but he didn't step away from KFC. He continued to participate in publicity campaigns, traveling worldwide for promotions and making TV appearances, embracing his role as the face of the brand while wearing his iconic white suit. Meanwhile, John and his team made key changes that led to KFC's expansion. However, in 1971, John Brown sold the company to a large food conglomerate, and that's when things began to change. Unlike John, who promised not to alter the Colonel's recipes, the new owners of KFC did not keep that commitment. For example, they changed the gravy recipe to a cheaper and easier-to-make version. A company executive at the time admitted that while the Colonel's gravy was great, it was too difficult to make, requiring extensive skill. As KFC expanded rapidly, the company made other adjustments to streamline operations. However, Sanders continued visiting KFC locations and, upon trying the new gravy, he was shocked by how bad it tasted, calling it pure wallpaper paste. He also criticized the chicken, claiming it was nothing but a damn fried dough ball stuck on some chicken. His public and harsh criticism led to a lawsuit for defamation from one KFC franchisee in 1978, but the case was dismissed. Dissatisfied with the direction KFC was taking, Sanders opened his own competing restaurant, called Claudia Sanders, the Colonel's Lady Dinner House. This led to a lawsuit from KFC's new owners, accusing him of violating their copyright and using the Colonel's name in his new business. Sanders retaliated by suing the new owners, claiming they misused his image for products he had not developed and demanding $122 million in damages. Eventually, the case was settled, and Sanders received $1 million, but his restaurant had to drop the Colonel from its name and became simply Claudia Sanders Dinner House. It still exists today, serving the original Colonel Sanders fried chicken. Despite the legal battles and challenges, Sanders never stopped fighting for what he believed in. He continued working until his death from acute leukemia in 1980 at age 90. Even at 65, after facing constant setbacks, Sanders became a millionaire by 74. His story stands as a testament to perseverance, proving that every failure can lead to a greater success. Today, there are over 25,000 KFC outlets worldwide, all stemming from one man cooking chicken in a gas station. As Sanders himself famously said, every failure can be a stepping stone to something better. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fascinating content.